Hey! What is up, everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of Unpopular, the Pop Culture Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Larry Downs, with my fellow hosts,
James Seeloff
and
Nick Haskett.
back at the helm. Today, we're just talking about one movie. I'm trying to take it easy on the boys. I don't want to give us too much work to do. Even though it's fun homework, it's still homework. I had James take home One Bad Day, Ra's al Ghul, because that came out. We might talk about it at a later point. One thing I do want to say about it is I think it's probably like the third best book in the One Bad Day series.
It was pretty good. It definitely wasn't my favorite.
Yeah.
At one point in time, I just felt like Batman was insufferable. Like, it's just like, dude.
I feel that way very often. I can totally understand that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty good, and we'll probably talk about that at some point. It's been a really slow week for comics. Nothing really good has come out. I picked up and wasted money on a new Archie horror series that was like Pop's Diner of Terror or whatever, and it was really shitty and bad. So,
That sucks.
but anyway, a new Ninja Turtles meet Usagi Yojimbo story came out, so that's pretty cool. My kid picked that up, and we read that, so that was neat. But enough about comic books. We're talking about a movie today. We're talking about a pretty big movie that should have came out, I feel like, a really long time ago. But up until this time, we probably didn't have the technology to achieve it the way that it was done today so successfully.
I also feel like this is probably the best time for a movie like this to come out because it's if it would have come out maybe 5 or 6, 7 years ago,
Yeah.
then it would have been the midst of the superhero wave.
Sure.
And it would have been lost to the wayside like everything else. Unless it was like, horror movies were still going strong. But
I just want to say we may have the technology right now, but we're missing a Bob Hoskin. Still got Johnny Legs. What do you mean this movie should have came out? It already came out.
So anyway, we're talking about the Super Mario Brothers movie, and this is a pretty big deal. And up until probably a week or two before it came out, I had no idea that Illumination was behind the helm. So I got a little bit nervous when I found out they've done Despicable Me, The Minions, all that bullshit, right?
Yeah. I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when I found out, I was like, Eesh.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then I was talking to my fellow comic book store rats, and they were telling me that Nintendo actually really put their foot down for this movie. Like, Illumination originally came to them with a story that focused on Princess Peach, mostly. And the head of Nintendo was like, no, Mario saves the princess. That's what Mario does. That's what's going to happen in the movie. right? Like,
Kinda.
And like,
But yeah.
what short-haired, blue-haired writers at Illumination were making a Princess fucking Peach movie when this is a Mario movie. Who gives a fuck about Princess Peach? Like, I'm sure there's a couple people out there, but like, you have a shot to make the Super Mario Brothers movie in a time where you have all the technology you need. You have everything at your disposal. You can do it. And you're going to make a Princess Peach movie?
Well, that's just...
I'm not against a Princess Peach movie, but not as the first one into the entry of live action. We already had but a new animated one.
She's not that important. Okay.
But I mean, like, it was great that, though, it would have been like, making a fucking Batman movie and making the whole thing feature predominantly about Catwoman.
Ugh.
Like, it's just... It doesn't make any sense.
And then you'd have some intricate basketball scene where she's really good at basketball. Oh, wait, that already happened with fucking Halle Berry. And Ripley, too.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Ripley got really... It's crazy because in Alien Resurrection, where they make a clone of Ripley with, like, part xenomorph DNA, suddenly she becomes really good at basketball. Like, xenomorphs are naturally good at basketball.
Right.
Like, there's... fucking
I think what they're
ankles
trying to
and shit.
show was the increased agility, stamina, and reflexes, but I get what you're getting at.
right.
But yeah, you just automatically just adept at basketball.
Yeah, she didn't play basketball beforehand, not that I knew of.
I don't know. She could have. Maybe she did in high school. I don't know shit about Ellen Ripley, man.
She's wearing some Nike Dunks, though.
Like,
so.
Well, maybe she did. If she's got some Dike Nucks and she's playing basketball.
It's
right.
alright, my
the
dad's a
shoes.
xenomorph. It's cool.
Right. Well, that explains it then.
So, anyway, this is the Super Mario Brothers movie. Illuminations behind it, which had me nervous. And wait till you guys hear the directors and writers of this movie, because I can't believe that they even had a shot in hell at this. So our directors are Aaron Horvath, Michael Jelinek, Pierre Leduc, or Leduc. So they've basically all worked on Teen Titans Go, The Batman, Batman the Brave and the Bold, and then one of the animation department guys, Pierre Leduc, did The Grinch and Despicable Me 1 and 2. So this is the team we have to make the Super Mario Brothers movie. If you had known this beforehand, you'd be probably nervous, right?
Yeah,
It's gonna suck!
Right! Like, oh, so you've just done Teen Titans Go, Despicable Me, and Batman the Brave and the Bold, which, I mean, are all successful series, but to do the Super Mario Brothers movie?
They're not
Holy fuck, dude.
iconic.
Yeah, like, but anyway.
You've got some big overalls to fill.
Yeah. And so for the writer, we have Matthew Fogel, who did Lego Movie 2, Minions Rise of Gru, and get this shit, Big Mamas, Like Father, Like Son, the Big Mama's House sequel. That's who wrote this movie, which is unbelievable because I think it was a pretty solid movie.
It was great.
Yeah.
I mean, with anything like Mario, it's like, what lore is there to like really fuck up though?
Yeah.
I mean, it's very loose, but you know,
and it's all just lore or just setting and characters.
But it's also a slippery slope because it's like, you know, they could also really fuck this up.
Yeah.
You know, it's just one of those things. It's like, you know, how much personality can you incorporate into like what is essentially a silent protagonist.
And we've said the same thing about the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Right,
because there's no, I mean, there is strict lore for D&D, but that's not like the meat and potatoes of the game. Like the game, it's just setting, characters, things. So you can make any kind of story. I'm not looking for any one particular thing as long as you check all the boxes. Are the classes in there? Are the items in there? Are the spells in there? You know,
Primary monsters, dragons,
Exactly.
beholders, kobolds,
so
shit
and
like that.
Both movies were great. I think we both enjoyed Dungeons and Dragons. But yeah, I think this movie's pretty solid. And the gist of it is that, obviously, Mario and Luigi, they're plumbers, they're brothers, they live in Brooklyn through happenstance, and we'll get to all this in more detail in a moment. They get sucked into the Mushroom Kingdom, and they both go on their journey to save the Mushroom Kingdom, save the princess, become heroes, and defeat Bowser. Roughly.
Whole lot of platforming involved.
Right, yeah. And so we got a really interesting lineup, and that's kind of been the controversy with this movie. And we'll go through it. We won't spend a lot of time on it. But the controversy mostly has been that Chris Pratt was voicing Mario. And we'll keep going. So Chris Pratt was Mario. Anya Taylor-Joy was Peach. Charlie Day was Luigi. Jack Black was Bowser. Keegan-Michael Key was Toad. Seth Rogen was Donkey Kong. And then we had some additional voices. Fred Armisen was Cranky Kong. And Charles Martinet, the original voice of Mario, was Mario's dad in this movie.
Okay.
And I think when you look at those, you can complain about each individual one and be like, that doesn't make sense. But what I thought was interesting to me is that the only reason I think all of that worked is because none of them had voices like I imagined their voices would be. Right. So I'm not hyper-focused on any one particular voice or anything because you've thrown me off with everybody.
Yeah.
You know, and sure, like some of them make sense. I think Jack Black did great. You couldn't even tell it was Jack Black until he
started singing.
Exactly. And he broke character. And you're like, oh shit, I forgot that was Jack Black. But other than that, he was a fucking awesome Bowser.
Yeah, he was a good Bowser.
Oh, excellent. Sure. But yeah, those are our stars. That's the gist of the movie. And before going into it, what were your guys' expectations?
I mean, like, I was expecting to be surprised. That said,
Okay.
they weren't very high, you know?
Yeah.
I thought that going in that I didn't care about the casting issues. It's like, dude, stop. Just people are just getting upset about whatever.
Well, what's really funny about that, so Tori, she didn't find out till about a week before the movie came out. She thought it was a live action movie. The longest. And like Chris Pratt was Mario and Jack Black was Bowser and like all this shit. And she's like, wait, what? I'm like, no.
They just spike up his hair and put him in a Guy Fieri t-shirt with some spikes on it.
But that was funny. But continue.
I thought Charlie Day's Luigi was great.
I thought he was great, and like I said, I wasn't too bothered by it, and especially since they kind of made a joke at the beginning because they don't have the Italian accents.
Oh,
they
yeah,
just do
yeah,
in
yeah.
the commercial for their plumbing business.
Right.
And they're like, "Oh, you think the accents are too much?" They're like, no. And then like
Right.
Jumpman, I think who's playing arcade, is like, "No, it's a great," or whatever he says.
And he actually does like the little jump thing too.
Yeah,
It's like...
But I thought, so you had low expectations, didn't care about the casting.
Right. And I mean, going into this, I wasn't really exactly looking forward to it either. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't like I was like, Jesus Christ, man, I've been waiting for this Mario movie all my life. But that said, going into it, I was way more surprised, and I thought it was just way better than I thought it was going to be.
Sure. Nick, as someone who's been collecting Mario toys for a very long period of time.
All of my childhood and adult life so far. I didn't know this movie was coming out until maybe a week or two prior. So when I saw the first trailer, I was like, no friggin' way! Oh!
It's gonna be sweet!
I didn't think it was necessarily going to be sweet, but I knew I had to see it. It really piqued my curiosity. I thought, worst case scenario, I'd walk out of it and be like, that was cute, you know? Yeah. But this blew my mind, went so far beyond my expectations of not only a kids movie, but a Mario movie as well. I don't think I've enjoyed a kids movie this much since the first Lego movie.
Oh, nice. But yeah, I'm glad. I had zero expectations. Like I said, I feel like this is like came out way too late. So I'm like, hey, whatever you do, I'm up for it. I'll give it a shot. I've never been a huge Mario guy. Sure, I've grown up with him. Sure, I've played all the games when they came out. But it's like, I've never been like a diehard, like, yeah, Mario, kind of guy. So I was on board. And honestly, like, the animation looked phenomenal.
That was the other, just graphically, the
beautiful.
whole thing was really friggin' nice.
Fucking beautiful.
Yeah, they did above and beyond, went above and beyond with that.
I was stunned and in some parts almost disturbed. Like, I didn't need to see every single strand of hair on like Luigi's mustache, or you know, there's those extreme close-ups. It felt like we were watching an episode of SpongeBob or Ren and Stimpy when it just realistic. Like, whoa, that's a little, bring it back a little bit, you know. But very dreamy, beautiful, colorful. All the background scenes felt so full of life. There was not a stagnant frame.
Yeah, like especially the jungle kingdom.
The jungle
was
village
awesome,
bright,
really
and colorful.
Cool.
I love how they had all of the racetracks tied to everywhere in the town, so you had to drive your Mario Kart to get there. Very cool. But we'll talk about that in a second. Let's jump right in. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time describing every aspect of the movie. I'm going to talk about the scenes kind of in order and just kind of roughly what happened in them and what we liked about them. And then we'll move on to the next one because we don't want to hang on to it too long. We don't want to bore anybody, all 19 of you and more. You should all subscribe. Click that like and subscribe button down below. We've had tons of new viewers. We've had a couple new subscribers. So hop on and join us on our chaotic ride.
I'll be taking the floor a little more in this episode, not to keep us going for too long, but I was very passionate about this movie, and I have so much to say and comment on. So sorry, Larry, for keeping it a short one. We'll see. I'm diving deep in the warp pipe.
Fucking flames. You're gonna piss on your parade, buddy. No, I'm just kidding. So anyway, our first scene, the opening, it's in the Ice Kingdom, the Penguin Kingdom, whatever it may be. And Bowser arrives at the Penguin Kingdom to steal the Power Star so he can take over the Mushroom Kingdom. It's the initial start of the movie and has really cool visuals to establish Bowser's strength, but still a good mix of comedy. Because as he arrives, like it's kind of like they get the Kill Bill music started as the penguins come out and try to attack him, and they're like throwing snowballs and they're doing all this stuff, but it shows that they're really weak and it's not doing anything.
Yeah, you know, the penguins, they go to prepare for their attack and they launch it, and it's relatively ineffective.
Right, and then Bowser just fucking just torches the whole palace.
That was a really cool thing. It was just like an awesome display of Bowser's power.
Right, like as soon as we start the movie, we're like, oh shit, I forgot Bowser's a badass. He's not just like the crybaby bad guy that like always gets beaten all the time. Like, we don't know that about him yet, you know? Yeah. And so he gets the Power Star. And I put at this point, if you didn't tell me Jack Black was Bowser, I wouldn't know. Because like you said before, like he didn't break character until he was singing that's I'll say silly song.
There were a couple times when he, the way his voice would go up, like when he's speaking to the, when he's speaking to the one wizard guy, he's like,
Comic, I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, come have a seat next to me.
Yeah,
like, you know, that I could hear him, that kind of voice in like Tenacious D album. You know, it's just,
okay.
Stuff like that I can kind of like hear a little bit.
I felt like we were hyper focused on it because we all knew it was Jack Black, and we're kind of waiting for it to slip out in even the slightest.
Yeah,
but I thought he did a good job.
Oh, he did a great job.
Other than the times it broke up, you know. But anyway, that's the end of that. He gets the power scene. We jump to Brooklyn or Queens or whatever. It all looks the same to me. I'm from Michigan, so I'm like, oh, it's a city. It's Brooklyn. But I think it's Brooklyn and Queens because during their commercial, it's like, we're here to serve Brooklyn and Queens. You know?
The car model or whatever scoots off and Luigi replaces it on Queens. Yep.
So Mario and Luigi have just started their new plumbing business, and after their first job goes awry, they turn on the news to see that Brooklyn has a major flood. As they go to save the day, they discover a warp pipe in the lower levels of the sewer and get sucked into the Mushroom Kingdom but are separated. But the way this starts, that's basically all that happens to progress the story. But of course, when they start this scene, they started with a commercial for Mario and Luigi's plumbing business, and it's the Mario rap.
Mario Brothers and plumbing's a game. We're not like the others who get all the fame.
The classic Mario rap. Mm-hmm. And they've made a commercial where they're like laying on stools with capes and fans in front of them.
Which is great because it's a callback to the cape from Super Mario World where they would use it to fly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's also kind of callback to this old commercial from back in the 80s where there was this car salesman who used to do the same gimmick where he would have a cape.
Okay.
Yeah, and that guy got busted for some kind of fraud where people who were making payments, he put a governor in their vehicles and they would shut their fucking vehicles down and he would reclaim them. But I digress. That's what that was referencing, I think.
But another funny thing, like the lady that they have is like, oh, help me, Mario Brothers. In the commercial, they have her like blatantly reading off dummy cards.
What did she say? It was like an adult joke.
The only thing you didn't drain was my purse or something?
Yeah, it was my
wallet or
bank
something.
account.
Yeah.
And she's like, it clear she's like reading it off of there.
And that was funny. And after that, they joke, like I said, that they're like, you sure that the accents weren't over the top? Because in the commercial, they're like, it's a me, it's the Mario.
Really over the top and
You're
stilted.
a family with the Mario.
The voice
brothers.
actress in that scene was also a voice actor for one of Peach or one of the female characters in the old cartoon.
Okay.
Oh,
well.
okay. All right.
Sorry. I have a lot of
the
Easter
Super
eggs
Show?
I'm going to be popping in the
cool.
Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
I have a Gravity Falls voice actor in this movie. It's the I forget what girl it is. Who does she voice? Anyway. But yeah, the original Jumpman is playing an arcade game at their local pizzeria, and he's like, "No, it's a great woohoo!" and jumps and everything. And I thought the first job that they get was a really good way to start this movie when you're starting it in a real world setting. Because we're like, how are Mario and Luigi, when they look like they are, going to fit into this real world setting that's very much kind of like the classic movie, right?
Right.
And I thought this whole bit with their job was really funny. Like, they get to the house because it's got a little leak. Luigi accidentally breaks this dog's bone. And then as they're working on the leak to fix it, the door opens like the fucking death dealer. And it's the dog with the broken bone. And like starts that whole, cat and mouse thing with them. And I thought that was pretty funny. And just kind of humanizing, I guess, for Mario and Luigi.
Just to kind of establish a baseline for the characters within their own circumstance and not just the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah, because really Mario's pretty shallow of a character.
And that's exactly what I mean about the lore stuff. You know, how much can you like really build a character? You have to kind of build him up in his own world first before you can just throw him into something like this, like the Mushroom Kingdom.
I think it was executed excellently.
Yeah,
100%.
Existentially.
Well, that too. No, because they pulled lore from the live-action movie. They pulled lore from the whole Super Mario legacy. There's so many callbacks throughout this whole film, and it was a nice, tastefully blended mix of all of it.
So when Mario's down in the dumps, he goes back to his family's apartment, and it's like, I don't know if I want to consider this canon, all of these people being Mario's family, because they're just like generic animated characters that are meant to look similar. I'm like, that's not what I think Mario's family would look like in my head. You know, like, I don't know. But
to me,
like,
it's just kind of like, what would Mario's family look like? I
Right.
mean, I guess it's just throw whoever out there. It doesn't really matter.
exactly. But
They did a great job of showing the culture of an Italian-American family around the dinner table.
What are you, a fucking loser?
So,
You're bringing
and-
your
and
brother down with
Here's
you.
an important factor, I guess, that plays in the recurring thing is we learn here is that Mario hates mushrooms.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Which is a
Because
weird-
his pasta's loaded with it, and he's like trying to scoop them onto
Yeah.
Luigi's plate, and Luigi's just like, "Fuck yeah, I'll take all the mushrooms."
I write down that when Mario leaves dinner and he's sitting in his room, he's playing Kid Icarus. He has a Star Fox chip on his TV and tons of other stuff in his room. Like, kind of weird for a grown-ass man to have a bunch of toys in his
Video
room.
games.
Like, never mind. But once they make their way, because obviously, like I said before, they see that a big leak is happening, and so they go to save the day to prove their worth. They get down to the depths of the sewer. They find the warp pipe. And how do you guys feel about the way that the warp pipe was shown? Because I don't know if you've ever thought about it. Like, what's it like traveling through the warp pipe?
Oh
We've
yeah,
never
for
really
sure. We never
seen
see.
that.
Yeah, we never. See, but
And it's like a weird in the clouds kind
yeah,
of tunnel
it's
thing.
basically like wormhole travel, kind of like wormhole travel, where it's like you go through the pipe and it's like or like the Rainbow Bridge in Thor,
right.
kind of like situation, you know?
Yeah.
It's as good as any other presentation, I guess, but they made it look really good.
Yeah, I just put down, I'm like, it's not necessarily how I thought it would have looked, but it worked. How about you, Nick? What'd you think about the warp pipe?
Well, when I think about warp pipes and when I have questions relating to warp pipes, I'm usually thinking about the root structure of a piranha plant and how there's nothing left over after you kill it and drop down, more than what it's like to travel through.
Sure.
But they're not in soil. So
And not all
Whatever.
warp pipes have piranha plants in them.
Yeah.
is true.
So, yeah, maybe I'm thinking too hard about it, but it's something that I noticed. I'm like, it's not something I never thought about, but I guess that works.
I thought it was done well. I was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. We know what they do. We just got to see a little more under the hood of how they function.
Yeah, it works.
And later on, they go through some clear ones when he's following Toad to Princess Peach's castle.
Going up to the
And
castle.
I felt like I was watching the intro to Futurama.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm like, what's up with these clear tubes? I don't like seeing that.
I feel like they probably did that in like one of the Mario Galaxy games.
Probably.
That feels fitting.
Yeah, there's
Sounds
probably
about
some nerd that's going to comment on this video. Well, fuck you, Larry. In this game, blah, blah, blah. But, so as they get sucked through the warp pipe, we move to our next scene because as they're traveling, they get separated. Mario gets sent to the Mushroom Kingdom, Luigi to the Dark Lands. And Mario lands, so it's Mushroom Kingdom, Dark Lands, First Landing. What happens? Mario lands in the Mushroom Kingdom and is greeted by Toad, who takes him to the Mushroom Kingdom to meet the princess and hopes she can help him save his brother. Luigi lands in the Dark Lands only to be chased and captured by Bowser's goons. So I don't know about you guys, but when Mario first landed in the Mushroom Kingdom, I wasn't crazy about how quickly they introduced Toad. And it was just kind of weird and really rushed to me. Because he was just like, oh, hey, let's go! Fuck, blah, I don't know you, but, it was just,
Don't you feel like that's kind of appropriate at the same time?
I don't know, man. I felt like there wasn't time for Mario to take a breath after he landed.
I felt like I would have liked to see him kind of alone in the strange new world, this very alien world, and kind of figure it out for himself for at least like a scene
Like
before he
2
runs
minutes,
into Toad.
you know,
But it was
thro-
probably pacing concerns.
Yeah, that too. To me, it's just kind of like the way I saw it was like it was almost like stepping into the actual game. Because in the game, we don't get an explanation. You're just thrown into the world of Super Mario Bros.
See, that's the kind of smart comment that fucks me up, James,
And
because I'm going to be a cynic about
I know.
this. It's like,
That's just kind of how I thought about it. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, dude, he just stepped in the world and like Toad's just there and he's like, hey, I'm your friend.
Toad was
It's
my...
that simple.
Yeah, he was my least favorite character, though.
Yeah, I mean, he did his job,
Yeah.
But I wasn't crazy about the voice actor, or it just didn't quite match. Toad was kind of I don't know, kind of a pompous dick. He had like a Scrappy-Doo mentality.
Well, he was just too goofy. He was too goofy, and like he didn't have any lines where
He's
it's
a
like,
fucking toad, dude.
he's not just a fucking toad. It's fucking Toad. It's like
the Toad.
Oh,
he's the.
the one thing that I will say, like, well,
Hey!
the part that I liked about this whole scene about getting up to the castle and stuff, is when they get up there, it's guarded by 2 other toads, and they're like, "We come to see the castle." And the guard's like, "Sorry, but your princess is another castle."
It's nice little jokes like that.
stuff
they're
like that
dropping
were
in.
just like,
Well, I liked when they're walking through town before they even get to the castle, and you see the little shops that have all the items from the games for
Right.
sale. It reminded me of like the shops, in Mario Party, where you could buy like the special items and unlock
The
things.
little
It felt
toadstool
like
shape
that. Yeah.
shops. Apparently that whole little town area of the Mushroom Kingdom is pretty closely based on the Nintendo World that they have. I don't know where that amusement park is, but
all right.
it's based
Yeah,
off
yeah,
that.
Okay.
But definitely pulling in some Mario Party vibes as well.
And remember, and like right before they go up to the elevator as they're walking through town, one of the shopkeepers is like, "And if it doesn't work, just blow in it." I don't know. Yeah. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
that's for us.
Yeah, that's
that
definitely,
line's
yeah.
for us. And the castle looks just like it should. Or at least how I remembered it in the N64 game.
Yeah.
And the Mario Kart 64, Princess's Royal Raceway.
Okay.
It's not a shortcut, but if you go off the road and travel to the castle, it's modeled exactly like it is in Mario 64.
That's
and it's just a cool little thing that's there. If you travel there, you're going to lose the race, but it's cool that they let you go off-road and check it out.
Right on.
And like at this point, like Mario makes his way to the princess. He talks to her about saving Luigi. She's like, "I'm gonna get you, and we're gonna get an army together, but you gotta prove your worth." And so she takes him to this like trial ground.
Yeah.
where it's like a level.
An obstacle course. you know.
Yeah, and it's just like there's spinning fireballs and there's things in
It's set up
plants
exactly
and-
like a regular Mario level would be,
Right.
but like it's got a little bit of everything across a Mario.
And of course, it's 2022, so Peach is awesome
Yeah,
at it.
yeah, just-
What? But she's a girl.
Yeah.
No.
Well, speaking of Mario Party, I don't know if you've ever played as having Peach or Donkey Kong as the computer, but they're the ones that are going to kick your ass every time, so we already know they can hold their ground.
It's true. So eventually, and I put down that like I Need a Hero starts playing for like a montage, and I'm like, I guess that's kind of funny. I mean, and this is like one of many weird soundtrack selections in this movie that I'm just like, I mean, I guess that works, but like, why do we have "Don't Sleep Till Brooklyn" in the beginning of the Super Mario Brothers movie? That's just weird.
Because
to me.
that stuff came out in the 80s, and this stuff.
Yeah, you're breaking. It's kind of like how I talked about with what was that Western movie, The Harder They Fall? And like you kind of break that.
Oh, the immersion? No, but
Right.
In other
You have the score.
I know,
Like,
I get it.
you
I
know.
get it. To me, it worked for me. But I can understand why it wouldn't work for other people.
Yeah.
Like I get why you don't like it, but for me, it worked. Like I thought it was okay.
Wait, you know what fucking worked? Was Luigi's landing in the Darklands. How dope was that scene where he lands in the haunted forest and he gets
Yes.
attacked and chased by all the dry bones up
Yeah.
into that haunted mansion?
That was an excellent scene. That was like the perfect callback to obviously the Haunted Mansion.
Oh,
or
dude.
Luigi's Haunted Mansion.
So dope. He's
Yeah.
like hopping across the lava. The colors just pop because it's got that blue and green kind of
High contrast,
Yeah.
everything's darkened out, but we get this bright molten lava.
Yeah, it was
So
just like
dope.
the best contrast, obviously, to the Mushroom Kingdom.
Right.
Or the rest of it. Everything is so bright, dreamy, colorful. It's like, no, this is the bad place. We really gotta
But the
hone
dry
that
bones
in.
were dope. The dry bones were super dope. And he gets captured by Shy Guys in the mansion. or
Shy Guys
whatever.
were probably my favorite.
They were cool.
Before you carry on,
Yo.
I love the cameo of the Dry Bones. They got, out of all the villains, they got a lot of exposure in this
They
movie.
did.
Even later on, when a Koopa gets hit by a fireball,
Yeah.
he turns to a Dry Bones, and his buddy just kind of looks at him like, oh. But when Luigi shut the door to the mansion after he gets chased in by the Dry Bones, the Shy Guys appear, but I thought when he was going to turn around, it was going to be Booze. You're in a haunted mansion.
Oh yeah, that
Every
would have been a
single
great opportunity.
haunted house level in every Mario
Yeah.
game has always had Dry Bones and Booze.
Did we have
Yeah.
any booze except for the wedding scene?
Just King Boo at the wedding.
Yeah, I don't think we saw any other booze.
But,
Maybe-
we'll probably because there's
Maybe-
gonna be another Mario.
yeah, they're
movie.
probably gonna go back to the Darklands. I'm sure that we'll get
Yeah,
more booze.
as we found out from the end. Well, I didn't stay for the post credit scene because
post-credit scene?
Yeah, so you see Yoshi's egg cracking, and so we're gonna have Yoshi. That's why we didn't have any Yoshis in this one.
They did.
There was a.
Well, there was for a second.
Yeah.
when they're going through an island or whatever.
Yes, James, there was a herd of Yoshis. We saw different color ones, and Luigi picks up, or Toad picks up
Mario.
and bites one of the fruit. It was Mario?
Yeah.
And, oh, right, because Luigi's still in the Darklands. And we see a Yoshi kind of look back into frame
Yeah,
and lick
yeah.
his lips. That was
Pink
cute.
one, yeah.
Shit, where was it? What was
What?
my thought right before that?
I don't know, man.
You lost
We're
it.
talking about Yoshis.
Oh, they pulled a Sonic movie here. Because everyone loves Knuckles. Who are you not putting in the first movie? Knuckles. But we're going to
Knuckles.
tease him at the end, and then you get him in the second. That's totally same route as this with Yoshi.
Well, actually, they teased Tails in the first one. They didn't even tease Knuckles until the trailer for the second one came out.
Oh,
at
we
the end
just
of the
saw
first-
Knuckles the same race as him, the enchiladas.
In the beginning of the first one, the echidnas, yeah.
Who's the kid? A kid to me. I don't know. the enchiladas.
So after that, we moved to the next scene, which is Bowser Castle, which I thought was a freaking awesome scene. It's a big heavy metal bash is happening at Bowser's
Izzy,
Castle.
Spike, all the Koopa cousins
Yeah.
rocking out.
Well, we see everyone. We see all of the different kinds of Koopas, which
But
is
you
so
know
cool.
who I'm surprised didn't really get any play? You know, the Koopas did, but the Goombas really didn't.
The Goombas really didn't, and I don't think we really saw any Hammer Brothers either, did
There's
we?
one Hammer brother that got his hammer smashed when they tried to whop him with when they got the invincibility star.
Okay,
There's
gotcha.
one Hammer brother I remember seeing. Two, I think.
But yeah, we didn't really see.
Yeah.
My favorite line in this scene is when he's speaking to his crowd and he's like, we're going to take over the Mushroom Kingdom with my Goombas and my Koopas. And then he points to the Spike Tops and Weasel Bugs and whatever those things are called.
Those things that, like, do this or whatever.
No, it's just little spiky guys that don't.
It looks like a
Spiny
Koopa
boys.
in its shell and then it has one Kaiser spike on
It
top.
just stayed as in
I'm
there.
thinking of the first boss from Super Mario 3. That's like, you jump on his head 3 times.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, that was funny. I will ask the princess to marry me in a fairy tale wedding. And everyone's just like,
Quiet
what?
as fuck, yeah.
But yeah, and then Luigi at this point, and he hasn't been taken over to Bowser's Castle yet, but he's with the Shy Guys. They're putting him on a ship, and he has a memory about Mario saving him when they were babies, and they look like the babies.
Baby
they look like
Marios,
Baby
yeah,
Mario, Baby
yeah.
Luigi, and all that. I'm
Awesome
like, okay,
callback, yeah.
that was nice.
Which came from Yoshi Island, I believe.
Okay. Yoshi's, where you had Baby Mario on your back, and you had to carry him all the time.
And I thought when Luigi was getting carried away by the Shy Guys and their Shy Guy blimp, that was very reminiscent of Yoshi's story. Every time you lose a different colored Yoshi, there's this cutscene after you run out of lives of the Shy Guys taking them away, and that used to break my heart and make me really
They
sad
all have
and
propeller
scared.
backpacks.
Yeah.
And they swing you. It's a boom, and you fly into the window of the castle, and the castle kind of wiggles, But yeah, that was a bummer. I loved Yoshi's story.
Yoshi's story was
I'm gonna make you guys talk about games after the movie because I got a couple.
I was gonna ask
questions
you
for
guys too.
Yeah, I got some questions for you guys. But so in between now and really kind of the last couple scenes, there's a bunch of in between filler stuff. Peach and Mario set off to save Luigi. Bowser sings a dumb song about Peach and finds out about Mario and gets super jelly about him. We see all the different Mario worlds as Peach and Mario travel. We see the Yoshis because there's the stampede of them, and the pink one stops. We see the ice world. We see like the cliff top world or whatever.
The desert cliff top area is actually the part of the, adjacent Mushroom Kingdom or surrounding worlds that actually Princess Daisy is the princess of those. that area. I have too much lore for you guys. I'm sorry. Go all day, baby.
What were you saying, James?
Speaking of Ice Kingdom, okay, I'm sorry that I didn't bring this up before.
I wanted to
Why
see the
would
snowman.
you keep this in the invincibility star in the weakest, most vulnerable place.
You know what? That's a very good point. What are you gonna say? Like, oh, because no one would expect it there. It's like, dude, there's just a castle with the star in the middle of it. Like, that's a pretty good point.
It's whatever.
Yeah, no, it kept you up at night clearly, and I can understand that. So,
well, I mean, you know me, I give a lot of leeway for error and whatnot, but it's whatever.
We get Peach's backstory. Meh, who cares? And Luigi, I like Princess Daisy's story from the 90s movie better.
She was played by Stacey Fahey, which was also the main protagonist in Hardware. Yes, even the Super Mario Brother movie I can make about hardware.
Fine. Luigi gets taken to cages in a lava prison set up in Bowser's castle. And there's a bit that I thought was overused big time. There's this one ghost in one of the cages because everyone's talking to each other in their own separate cages, and there's this little spooky ghost that keeps saying things
all the nihilistic,
everything's meaningless.
Yeah,
that was one of the stars from Super Mario Galaxy.
Okay,
I kind of figured that's what it was, and I'm like, yeah, I get this.
It was cute once or twice, but then it went on too long. All this existential dread.
It wasn't funny after the third time. Rule of thirds didn't work with this.
I will say, I did get a little chuckle when, spoiler alert, when they're bringing the cages back out of the lava, and everyone's like, "Oh, we're being saved," and she's like, "Aww."
Yeah.
That was cute.
I was over it at that point. I was like, all
Fair.
right, enough. So the next scene, Mario and Peach finally make it to the Kong Kingdom. Peach and Mario arrive in the Kong Kingdom too, and ask Cranky for his army to put a stop to Bowser. Mario must beat Donkey Kong in a competition for Cranky to agree. Mario wins, and they all get taken to get Mario Karts and ready to roll out. They are then surprised by Bowser and his gang in a Mad Max-style attack.
On Rainbow Road.
So, backing it up, Kong World was cool. I liked that it was connected by racetracks. You had mentioned you really liked the colors and everything. I agree. I loved the layout and the color scheme of everything of Kong World. It just seemed fun. It seemed like a video game, and it seemed like I was kind of there having a good time.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
We've visited that world or that location in so many other related games like Super Smash Brothers. There's a Donkey Kong Country. Obviously there's many Donkey Kong games. And there was even a shitty animated series of Donkey Kong back in late 90s, mid 90s.
Yeah.
And everything, they kept the look consistent.
Yeah.
And that I really appreciate. Kudos.
And when they're going to Cranky's castle, they're getting driven by a guy, and Take On Me is playing, which is another weird choice.
I liked it.
Okay.
The only reason I liked it because that guy looked like he had the whole Miami Vice.
He had the look.
Yeah, he had the white blazer on and stuff, and the kind of like a convertible thing. It worked for me.
Yeah.
To me, it was like, okay.
But yeah, Mario's got to fight Donkey Kong in this Coliseum style level.
Very familiar looking, has all kinds of barrels and stuff.
Yeah.
The red platforms from Donkey Kong.
The DK rap is playing, which I was playing to my kid before we saw it. He's like, "You think they're going to play this in the movie?" I'm like, certainly.
Most certainly.
They're going to play it in the movie. And you know what?
Seth Rogen had to fight to get that song in there.
Did he really?
Nintendo didn't want it. It's like, dude, you guys paid someone to do this song back in DK64. You might as well reuse it.
And, they showed Diddy Kong and what's the girl's name?
Daisy.
But I was on the lookout for tiny, lanky.
They might be in the background if we were to pause it, but I didn't.
When I watched it again, I was scene by scene looking. I didn't see them. They could be in there, but, I liked Lanky Kong from the old N64. He had the grape straw gun. There's now a video clip of me doing this on the internet. It's like this. He's got a big grape straw gun.
Right,
he goes over here. He blows through it like that.
We just got our thumbnail for the episode.
I'll do it. I'm not afraid.
Larry says Mario blows.
So, Mario beats him. Mario beats Donkey Kong by surprise because he gets the cat power up, and he uses it to his advantage after everyone's making fun of it. He's like, "Oh no, I'm a cat," and so he's hopping around and he kicks DK's ass, and so he gets access to Cranky Kong's army, and so they take him first stop before they head out to the kart creation room, and I think Mario Kart's my favorite aspect of the Mario games.
Yeah,
it's one of the only games I'm good at.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like
Mario
there's
Kart.
nobody out there that doesn't fully enjoy
Right.
a game of Mario
And
Kart.
When I play with Larry and his wife, because they stop me out.
it's pretty fierce between us.
Get
two.
good, right?
But it's cool because as they're building the carts and they're spinning the dials to pick the wheels, the parachute and everything.
It's just like the menu from the game.
I saw them like, oh, those are Cyber Slick tires. That's this and that, blah, blah, like actual things from the game. And they're playing the Mario Kart theme song in the garage as they go to pick it out. And that was a really cool scene.
Yeah,
That's kind of a dream. I'd love to build a Mario Kart of my own.
My only complaint about this scene, as much as I loved it, Larry, you already know what it is. No wacky wiggler.
No wacky wiggler.
Oh yeah, wacky wiggler.
The greatest Mario Kart of all time. But then as they're building the carts, it transitions and starts playing Thunderstruck, which I put gross because I hate AC/DC. And anytime they're like, oh, something with cars, oh, something tough, like, oh, we're gonna play AC/DC. I'm like, no, I don't want that.
I'm not an Akadaka boy.
No. But as they leave, because everyone's got their carts now, the carts that we recognize from the game, and I'm just thinking of my cart now, it would be like Luigi's with the L, but it'd probably be like brown instead of green. It's just a really unappealing race car color. But anyway, they're heading out to go save the day. They get attacked by like a Mad Max gang. Like Bowser's already there. He sends everyone on their trucks, their ATVs, their cars onto Rainbow Road, and it is just chaotic. It's bombs being thrown. It's all this and that.
Part of the road.
Banana
gets
peels.
Banana peels. It gets chaotic, and part of the road gets wrecked because they take down the big truck that's driven by a blue shell Koopa, and then he goes like, "Whoa, blue shell!"
Yeah,
and like gets the wings and blasts off and destroys
The
their
cursed
cart.
blue shell just fucks
Which
everything up.
I thought was super.
That was perfect.
It looked badass too.
It did look cool, yeah.
You know, because he believed it was cool and badass.
Yeah,
you know?
he was right.
Yeah.
He sold it.
was right.
It was great. So anyway, that makes Donkey Kong and Mario fall into the ocean and get gobbled up by a big old fish.
By the fucking eel.
The eel.
The eel from Mario 64.
Yeah.
The most terrifying thing from any Mario game.
It didn't have the purple with the white spots, but I do think that was, in fact, a callback to that eel that
pretty
lives
sure.
in the shipwreck located in Dire Docks.
Yes.
See, I also thought it was the eel from the underwater Yoshi story level. I could be wrong.
Oh,
That could've been-
I didn't even
I
I could
think
be
of
making
that.
it up too because
That one went right over my head.
I could be making that up though. Maybe
I never got
I'll
to
post
that
some
part.
pictures.
Yeah,
when-
we'll see. We'll
when we edit
do
the
some
video.
comparisons.
But anyway, they get eaten by the big eel, and everyone else gets captured by Bowser as Princess Peach and Toad await Bowser to come to the Mushroom Kingdom and take over. So our conclusion, basically scene 6, as Bowser ascends on the Mushroom Kingdom, Peach agrees to marry him to save the kingdom. Meanwhile, Mario and DK escape the fish and head to the Mushroom Kingdom to stop Bowser and Peach's wedding and save the day. Mario makes his way up to the castle in an all-out spectacle of Mario moves, enemies, and references. The fight then moves into the real world where Mario and Luigi together put a stop to Bowser and save the day. So this whole end bit, it all happened very fast, but there was a lot of cool things. Like at the wedding, Peach actually kind of instigates the chaos or the counterattack by getting the blue.
She gets
plant.
the ice flower.
Yeah. And she freezes Bowser up. And then Mario does that whole run. Because he had gone through this section before at the beginning, through all the tubes. But he's like jumping on shells, bouncing them back, going up tubes. He's doing it all right. And we're seeing all the shit that like you see in kind of like a speed run where they do those crazy levels. And you're like, how the fuck are they going to do that? And he's just bebopping off of everything. Super cool. I loved Bowser in the wedding suit and top hat. It's one of my favorite costumes for Bowser. And
That outfit was also taken from another game.
Odyssey. Mario Odyssey.
Wow, guys are on your shit.
Yeah, well, it's like I played Odyssey. That was one of the first games I got for the Switch. But yeah, I like Bowser and his little white glittery top hat and suit. It looks fun.
Odyssey was the sequel to Galaxy, right?
No, it's just a total standalone because it's not connected to Galaxy or anything. You don't like finish off or start up where Galaxy finished off. You're just kind of like in a completely different, because the worlds aren't the same. It's not like running around a planet. It's you're actually going to worlds like an N64.
Huh, that sounds really great. I've never played it.
It's phenomenal. It's the most recent Mario game. Not, you know what I mean? Not like Mario Party or Mario Tennis. Like, solid. But yeah, I thought it was really cool to see all of that happen. I liked the battle at the end when they basically make it back to Brooklyn and Bowser's in Brooklyn. And he basically uses the Power Star, him and Luigi together, to just like kick Bowser's ass. It kind of reminded me of that scene from Shin Ultraman where that thing is shooting the radiation beam at him and he just clocks it right in the face and its head like sinks into its shoulders. Bowser did the same thing basically when they both knocked him when they were all powered up with the star. And I thought that was pretty cool. And I think it was a pretty solid end to the movie. Like, what else do we need to see other than Bowser being defeated?
It ended the way it was supposed to.
And everything being fine.
Right.
You know? So...
That was another ending the fight in Brooklyn. Not that it happened in the live action one, but there is a scene where King Koopa and a few Goombas do get teleported to New York. And for a second, in the background, the Twin Towers turn into the Koopa Tower. You couldn't do that today.
No.
They didn't know.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, that's the movie. I want to go over our final thoughts about it. Nick, what were your final thoughts, really, overall, after seeing the movie, walking outside, after thinking about it for a bit? Were you happy with it? What'd you think?
I went into it with an open mind, and I was like, you know what, worst case scenario, this is going to be cute, but it kept me thoroughly entertained. I loved all the callbacks, how they blended all the lore. It didn't give you a minute
to get distracted.
No, it held your attention the whole time. I thought it was excellently paced, other than when he first arrives to the Mushroom Kingdom, like we earlier discussed, but man, like I said, best kids movie I've seen since the original Lego movie. I'm eventually going to buy this, but I'm waiting for the second one to come out so I can get a little 2-pack.
There you go, a little 2-pack deal.
Loved it.
All right.
Do you want my rating?
So what's going to be our ratings here? Are we going to do mushrooms or are we going to do something depressing?
Stars still work.
I mean, stars still work.
Coins?
I feel like stars.
Blue coins? Red coins?
How about... baby penguins.
I was gonna say Koopa shells, but that works. That's cuter.
The cliff, over. Exactly.
Oh, the music's coming back to me now. Once James, you activated part of my childhood there. Yep.
Right, Nick, how many thrown off the cliff baby penguins do you give this one?
Too many to count. What's the limit? 5?
5, yeah.
So I can't go above 5.
No.
I give it a...
That'd be anarchy.
I give it 4.9.
Okay.
Dead baby penguins.
No. We just do halves, okay? We're not doing decimal points here.
I'm not very good at fractions anymore. Anyway, so...
Okay, halves.
4.5 dead baby penguins thrown off of the icy slide. It would have a 5, just like John Wick, if John Leguizamo was in it. Right. I say they bring Johnny Legs back as Waluigi for the sequel.
He won't even watch this one. Didn't you see that? He's got beef with this movie because there's not enough Italian represents or Mexican, Latino.
Latino wasn't represented.
And I'm like, look, they let you be Luigi, even though you're not Italian, dude, in the real movie, the real life movie way back when. Why the fuck do we need Latin representation in Mario? I'm sorry, but who's Latin in Mario?
Well, one of the Koopa twins from the Super Mario Brothers movie live action was in Short Circuit 1 and 2, and he plays an Indian guy in brownface, so there's other things to be upset about, Johnny Legs.
Shit like that all the time. That's kind of like some actors they would consider racially ambiguous.
Sure.
And it's like, why would it, but it's still like...
It's like, we didn't cast Scarlett Johansson for every single role. Okay? It's stupid, but I mean...
all things considered, this movie, it kind of defied a lot of odds.
Sure.
And with that said, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a lot of fucking fun. Yeah. It did what it's supposed to. It honored the tradition of, like, everything Mario.
I believe so.
And what's not to like?
Yeah. So that's your final thoughts. That sounds great. I totally agree with all of that stuff.
How many dead baby penguins again?
I'd say I give it 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want you guys to prepare yourselves because I'm going to be very generous this week. I'm going to give this movie 4.5 dead baby penguins.
Whoa! Wow.
Because I walked out of this movie.
You really.
And I was like, that's wonderful. Yeah. That was a wonderful movie.
I don't think I've ever heard you say anything that positive about a movie walking out of it.
Right. And it did everything for me. And it helped that the animation was just fucking beautiful. The colors. And like when you're working with Mario, you got all of that to work with and they nailed it. They had all the little details. Every little thing. I didn't mention this before. One of the bars in town when it's all flooding and before they go down, it's called, I forget what it's called, but it's got the green mallard from Duck Hunt as the logo on the outside of the bar. Like, there's so many little things like that to enjoy about this movie. The things that are in your face nods, the things that are hyper little detail, like Easter eggs that you kind of have to find. And it wasn't the main point of the movie. All those Easter eggs and things, they didn't distract from the main plot, didn't distract from the characters. It was just really a really solid movie. And it's not getting a 5 because nothing's ever going to get a 5. But I thought it was a really phenomenal movie. I would highly suggest it. And yeah, I can't believe it was as good as I thought it was.
Yeah, it was just a lot of fun, man. And I think that's kind of why, honestly, in the grand scheme of things, why it is scoring so high is because nobody was expecting it to be as good as it was.
Right.
Personally.
Especially from Illumination, too. Not that they haven't had major success, but it's like...
it's nobody, because people... that stuff that they would produce would only be popular for so long.
Right.
For a certain demographic of people, but this movie
nailed it.
Yeah, it did its job,
Based on who animated it, I think we're all happy that it wasn't despicable.
Mario's got like really long, skinny legs and just like a short, looks like Gru.
Before we get into questionnaires, I just want to throw out a few little other Easter eggs. Like you mentioned the green mallard on the bar. Punch Out Pizzeria.
Okay, yeah.
The boxing game. I know Mario was the ref in Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
And then in the beginning, when they're in the real world and they're at the house that they're doing the plumbing work at, there is a Duck Hunt photo of the dog. Like when he comes up and laughs on the screen or whatever when you miss or something. And I was really happy to see this. A Pikmin statue as one of their works of art on like a countertop.
Pikmin fan?
Boo, I hate Pikmin.
You hate Pikmin?
You played that with your other friend, okay? I have no emotional ties to Pikmin, okay?
Pikmin was alright.
He doesn't even text me back when I wish him happy holidays or birthdays. And look who I'm sitting with now.
I know. That's right.
The boys.
Still won't play it. Just the same person that fucked up Evangelion for you. It's the same goddamn person.
He won't be watching this, but if you are watching this, you know who you are.
It's your fault. So that's our final thoughts on the movie. Those are our ratings. I think we all enjoyed it. I think we would all suggest it. And let us know what you think about the movie down in the comments below. But before we wrap it up, I want to ask these boys a couple questions. I got 3 questions for you guys, and you don't have to think too hard about it. But what's your favorite Mario game? If you could pick one, your favorite Mario game out of all of them. All of them.
I mean, I haven't played a new one in a long time.
I mean, what one resonated with you growing up? You know what I mean?
I'd have to say Super Mario World.
Super Mario
yeah,
World? Okay.
There were so many just little secrets in that game that I continued to explore for so many years after I first got it.
And it's cool, those secrets, a lot of it was like word of mouth.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like back in the
or
day.
just on accident you would discover.
Right.
You know, and it's like, you know, that kind of stuff. It was ahead of its time.
Yeah, okay. How about you, Nick?
Well, I've kind of got a few.
No, you gotta pick one. You gotta pick one.
Well, a Game Boy based one. I think one of the first Mario games I owned was Mario and the 6 Golden Coins, which was a
Classic.
black and white one.
Classic,
But you
yeah.
would work on the Game Boy Color, and everything became more colorful, but not all the colors matched up because they didn't code it that way.
Right.
But one just art style world that like is just so charming to me, and I've replayed so many times, would have to be. It's not even one of the main ones. Yoshi's Story.
Yoshi's Story's phenomenal. That was almost my first one because what a great game with tons of replay value. And as a kid, there wasn't a game other than like Yoshi's Island and Yoshi's Cookie where like you really got to explore as Yoshi, or you really got to be Yoshi other than like the basic platforming bullshit from the previous games. And you got to unlock the black Yoshi and the white Yoshi and the black shy guy and the white shy guy, and like the black Yoshi could eat the peppers that the other ones couldn't eat. And Yoshi's Story, the bosses, the music, just everything about it. What a phenomenal game. I would still play it to this day. But like I said, my favorite, it was almost Yoshi's Story. I'm going to go with an oddball one just because it kind of blew my mind as a kid how the game functioned and I wasn't expecting it. And that was Paper Mario.
Okay.
I think the original Paper Mario, I'm like, this is an RPG. This is super cool. I have, turn-based combat and like all this stuff. And I thought it was super unique. I loved all the additional characters you got. And it was just really one of my first role-playing game experiences in a very easy-to-follow setting.
I've never been crazy about RPGs, but I will say I love the world of Paper Mario so much that I bought like a strategy guide from Blockbuster just for all the artwork in it.
Yeah.
And
It's
all
a
the
great
recipe
game.
list, you could like make things.
Yeah.
And
I loved Paper Mario. All right.
there's a Boo Bay in it.
Yeah, there is. A Boo Babe. Yeah. Favorite Mario power-up? Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
I'd have to go with probably the blue flower.
The blue flower?
I just love being able to freeze shit. I
Yeah,
like some
that's
Sub-Zero
cool.
stuff, dude.
I dig it. How about you, Nick? This is kind of a tough question.
But the costume ones are cool too, man. Like
Yeah.
the Tanuki suit and stuff. I love that. But the blue flower, I had to go with that.
Okay.
You know what? This is very classic, and Larry always knows how I feel about the outfit. He's giving me a smirk right now. Classic Fireball.
Classic.
Because I think that was one of the only things that could correct me if I'm wrong, kill the dry bones. Because otherwise they'd reassemble.
Yeah, they blip off the map when you actually
hit 'em
them.
enough.
And I love like the change of the aesthetic, like the white base with green or white base with red.
yeah.
Like,
I
classic.
get it.
I think Tanuki, Fox
Tanuki's
Mario.
awesome.
It's either that or the cape with the feather.
Okay. Yeah.
Like both are great. Or I like the hammer one too. Or
Hammer,
like,
yeah, Hammer was so
Hammer
rare.
is cool, and that was like I had to use a game genie to unlock the hammer
yeah.
in Mario 3. I'm gonna go with hammer because it's cool.
Hammer
It's
was
different.
fucking cool. It was just so rare that you
Or the
come
frog
across it.
one too.
Yeah, frog was badass.
I like those weird, unique ones.
Now the cat one that was introduced in later, more recent.
That's
games,
Yeah,
kinda
correct?
more
right.
recent
You were
ones
good.
because I never
Okay.
played. It wasn't in any previous ones that I played.
No, me.
But it
neither.
looked like a cool concept.
All right. Who is your favorite secondary Mario character who is not Mario?
So it can be like an enemy and stuff.
Sure. Why not?
I'm just going between my camera and your camera.
Yeah, I know. How about you? What you got?
Luigi's always been one of my top dogs.
Of course.
You know,
He's
because
cooler
it
than
may be
Mario.
Mario's world, but we're all just living in it. I will say, I know in this movie it was Mario and Luigi's first time coming to the Mushroom Kingdom, or this whole world. He kind of acted as the princess in this one, because Mario had to save him.
Yeah.
And
he did.
he was very...
They made Luigi the princess.
Well, that's basically what he came out to be, though.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he was.
And,
a princess.
I mean, it came around. Obviously, we'll see more of him, I'm sure, in the second one. I always had a soft spot, too, for Waluigi, because Wario's weird and kind of an anomaly, and Waluigi's even weirder,
Yeah,
and kind of
yeah.
disgusting and creepy,
Okay.
and lankier. I don't know.
Yeah.
And the purple and yellow, I mean, you can't deny it's good luck.
Yeah.
He just reminds me of that bad guy from Busy Town, or what's that? Lazy Town.
With the, yeah.
Yeah. The crinkly mustache. Yeah.
Looks like that guy.
I thought if he wasn't dead, I thought he was going to play Eggman or Dr. Robotnik, but
Okay.
Jim Carrey killed it.
So Luigi is your answer?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, you know,
Okay.
I have a Luigi shine. When I was grocery shopping today on the end cap, I actually just picked up a little Luigi figure of him in the cat outfit.
Oh, all right, nice.
I'm a sucker. I have a Luigi shrine. Larry's been collecting Luigi things for me whenever he finds it. He even brought me a few things back from Japan. Luigi will always be my boy, first and foremost.
Yeah. Totally fair. How about you, James?
You know,
Is it that tough?
I mean, I kind of have a soft spot for what's it called? I mean, Shy Guy's pretty cool,
I love Shy Guys.
but Bullet Bill's
Bullet Bill's excellent. Yeah.
Whoa, that's a whole different category. We were saying secondary Mario characters that aren't Mario. So I was thinking the goodies
I gave you
lineup,
the
or
option.
playable
You
characters.
He gave me the option, like enemies.
Oh,
and
that's a
stuff.
different category. I
All
got
right,
dry
let's
bones.
restrict it. Let's go back to just
So
the main characters.
just main characters. All right.
Yeah.
So if we're not counting enemies, I guess I feel like Waluigi is just. He's just so fucking weird, dude. He's just a tall, lanky, crazy. He kind of reminds me of my Uncle Paul if my Uncle Paul was evil.
Okay.
So you can't fucking go wrong. The guy's just.
Unless Uncle Paul watches this episode.
Oh no!
He knows about it. I told him about
Yeah.
it before. He's aware.
You're done for.
No,
He's throwing out all of his purple shirts at this point. Like his overalls. He's just like, fuck it, I can't anymore.
But I have to say my favorite enemy is probably.
You didn't give us your favorite goodie
He
yet.
said Waluigi.
Waluigi. Well, he's baddie, but still main
He's a
character. I'll take it.
main,
I'll take it. I'll
yeah.
take it.
If you can play him in Mario Party, you know. Or...
Mario Tennis.
the spiny shell guys are pretty cool as far as enemies.
All right,
Spike
Nick,
Top.
you say your favorite enemy, so we don't have to double back. To
Yeah,
you,
we have
'cause
to
I know
make
you're
sure
gonna
all
wanna
bases
say
are
your
covered.
favorite enemy.
It's a close tie between Dry Bones, Shy Guys, and the skeletal piranha plant.
Okay. So I say my favorite Mario secondary character is probably Yoshi. If I had to choose between all of them, it's always been Yoshi. I've loved Yoshi's Cookie, Yoshi's Island. I love Yoshi's story. Like, I collected all the old plushies. I love the character. He's great. And he's the fastest one in Mario Kart. Even though they're all the same speed. But in my head, Yoshi's the fastest one.
He always sounds like he's having a hernia when he does his double jump, though. Like, don't force it, bud.
Well, I actually watched a video on YouTube the other day about what happened with Yoshi's voice. Because Yoshi's gone through so many voice changes and everything. Because he used to just be like that speedy sound. Like the kind of noise.
Yeah.
But then they gave him a voice eventually. But yeah, and I'd say my favorite enemy...
Shy Guys.
I don't know, man. I really like Bullet Bills. But I also like Dry Bones.
Well, I also like the little squid guys, and I also really like the Cheep
Bloopers?
Cheeps.
Bloopers and
Bloopers,
Cheep
thank you.
Cheeps?
That one slipped me. Bloopers and Cheep Cheeps, the fish and squids. Which Cheep Cheeps made a surprisingly pretty visible. Like, they were in a lot of scenes.
Yeah, they were in this quite frequently. So yeah, that is it for this week, this month, whatever. I release these whenever the hell I feel like it. All right, I gotta edit this shit. Ugh, it's so much work. But anyway, thanks for watching this episode. If you've enjoyed it, click that like and subscribe button down below, and let us know what we should talk about in future episodes. Yeah, that's all we got. Once again, I am one of your hosts, Larry Downs.
I'm James Seeloff.
I'm Nick Haskin, and if you love Mario 64, I don't know if you can find it, but the Nintendo DS had a great remaster of it where you could play as a ton of more or different characters, including Waluigi, or Wario, Peach, Yoshi, and you could go through the castle. They made new levels. It is a swan song to that game. It's absolutely stunning.
Yeah, but you'll never be able to play it now because Nintendo hates their fan base and won't re-release games for dead platforms. That's a big thing. They're under fire right now
there's
because
a lot
they
of
keep
shit
killing games. They're letting them die.
There's a lot of games that are dying off because of that.
They won't re-release it even on their web store or whatever. Like, and you can't. They don't make 3DSs anymore.
Damn, I thought we were gonna end on a good note, and
now
it's a bummer.
Fuck Nintendo.
It's unfortunate.
But no, anyway, like I said, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you later.